Fear of the unknown. The idea that anything at any time could be lurking in that dark corner of your room. Tatsuki Fujimoto loves to play around with the emotions of Chainsaw Man readers. Belonging, isolation, depression, fear. Throughout various points in Chainsaw Man, each of these are encapsulated perfectly. But in terms of pure uneasiness, one scene stands above the rest. The suffocating terror of the Darkness Devil. And it all begins when Santa Claus sends the cast to hell. Hell within the world of Chainsaw Man is not some fiery inferno, nor a frozen, desolate wasteland. It is something we, the readers, as well as the characters, do not expect. A field, serene and abundant with flowers. Beautiful at first glance, but something is off. Above is a sky of doors, exits seeming so near yet just barely out of reach. And littered upon the ground are a multitude of severed fingers of unknown origin. Perhaps these fingers are all that remain of those who made it to this strange place before. The fiends begin to break down and act totally contrary to their typical personalities. Long screams incoherently, power is left uncharacteristically speechless, and the typically calm and collected violence is losing his grip. Angel speaks with an emotionless lack of hope, and perhaps most shocking of all, Beam is silent. Pinksty is hysterical, even asking Quangxi for permission to die. She fearfully proclaims their doom and that a devil of incomprehensible strength has their sights on them. A devil of primal fear, one that has never known death, much stronger than even the gun devil, an insurmountable foe thus far. A door above creaks open, and a single drop of dark liquid falls out, the first sound yet to permeate the strange scene. It splatters to the ground and forms a faint silhouette. Aki, Quangxi, and the bodyguards prepare to fight, but gaze into a darkening landscape. They watch as a line of bisected astronauts appear to pray to the only god they know in the depths of space, darkness itself. A frog ribbits. In the light we do not fear frogs, they will not harm us. But when we hear a ribbit in the dead of night, with no other sound, it may send a shiver down our spine. In the darkness, frogs have the unique ability to see color. In this abyss, the frog can see what everyone else present cannot. It is the only other life present in this vast field of severed fingers and silence. The only creature that can see through the darkness, and the only creature alive to tell the tale of what lies within. It is a herald of dominance and superiority, displaying just how little our cast of characters is able to see. The one constant humans have in the dark is the sense of feeling, the ability to move their arms around to make certain there is nothing directly in front of them. The Darkness Devil rips away this singular constant immediately. And as the shadows shift, the characters do not even perceive darkness's attack, as their limbs are helplessly torn from their bodies. They were blind to the attack. Some have pointed out that these limbs floating above even seem to spell something out. A name. Makima. Not only are these characters literally blind in the dark, but they are also blind to the evil deeds of the Control Devil from right under their noses. Darkness is a creature made of a contortion of bodies, its true form unknowable. Every ability it uses is left unexplained, adding to the unknowability of darkness itself. The fiends and Denji are all in a state of shock, scarcely able to form words to comprehend the situation. Only the emotionless doll Tolka can speak, asking for the power to kill Makima. Makima has been unfathomably strong thus far. In response to this, the Darkness Devil provides a minuscule chunk of its flesh to Santa Claus, scarcely a fraction of its power. This is all it has deemed necessary to kill Makima. The Darkness Devil pops the head clean off of Tolka, like the puppet that he is. It does not even deem the Stone Devil worth looking at, as Darkness extends one hand of many to crumble both Stone and Kusakabe in one swift grasp. Best Boy Beam, loyal to the end, tugs on Denji's ribcord, but the devil will not allow escape. The darkness itself seems to attack Beam, slicing him into pieces. Quangxi, her fiends, and the one remaining bodyguard attack, but they too are ripped apart. At the same time, Violence asks Kobeni to remove his mask, the thing that has been limiting his power since his introduction. In a typical shonen, this would give Violence a fighting chance, or at least let him buy some time. This is not Fujimoto's method of writing. With a single incomprehensible phrase, the Darkness Devil tears Galgalia asunder. It happened so fast that many readers upon first reaction did not even notice that the Violence Fiend was born from the corpse of Hirokazu Arai. Enraged by the murder of Beam and the harm caused to the rest of his comrades, Denji springs to action. Perhaps because it senses the chainsaw within Denji, or perhaps simply to play with its food. Darkness finally seems to pay some mind to its attacker, turning to face Denji. And as his chainsaw creates sparks against the Darkness Devil, we finally get a glimpse of what else lies in the dark. Fear of the dark is not fear of the dark itself, but rather a fear of the unknown, a fear of what lies where the eye cannot see. This is how the Darkness Devil has such overwhelming strength. Dozens of corpse-like creatures point towards Denji, and he is twisted and disposed of effortlessly. There is nothing here this primal fear does not reign supreme over, as it summons an incredibly cool sword to impale and annihilate the Violence Fiend. And once more, the body of Hirokazu Arai has burned his life away without a second thought for Kobeni. Aki watches in horror, much like the readers themselves. He remembers that time with Himeno, the day he lost everything. Gazing at the injured power in Denji, having just watched the annihilation of Violence and Beam, he begins to break down. The very real possibility has arisen that he will lose everything once again. Darkness looms above him, not just as a monster in hell, but also as a shadow above his mind, casting his mental state into oblivion. Blood begins to ooze from the eyes and mouth of Angel, gazing mortified at Darkness. Gaze into the abyss, and the abyss gazes back. One by one, these fiends have been losing their minds and lives to this incomprehensible Lovecraftian terror. And Angel falls. Darkness looms over Aki, reaching out to him. A reminder of his impending death, the dark conclusion to his short life creeping ever closer. And Aki, too, falls. As Princhi appears, we know what will happen, and she is unsurprisingly destroyed by the Darkness Devil. The frog ribbits once more, heralding the attack that rips Spider's limbs from her body, but this time, it heralds something else as well. Something nearly as frightful as Darkness. Makima. She is the one thing that comes close to damaging the monster, but of course it is not enough. Her arm is crushed, and she is stabbed by the sword that destroyed Violence. She barely manages to control the abandoned doll on the ground, narrowly allowing the last few surviving characters to escape while simultaneously hinting once more towards her true nature. The Darkness Devil appeared from nothing, with immeasurable power that none had a chance of stopping. Its attacks were imperceptible, unknown, and extraordinarily dangerous. It embodies that fearful concept that anything could be lurking in the dark corners of your room, just barely out of sight. Next time you're in a forest at night, a suffocating silence permeating the air around you, and you hear the ribbit of a single frog, perhaps a chill will creep its way down your neck, for anything can be lurking in the dead of night. The way Fujimoto wrote the scene in hell with the Darkness Devil is an incredible mix of fear, adrenaline, and heartbreak. It is, in my opinion, one of the best scenes in Chainsaw Man, and one of the most frightening in shonen as a whole. The profound effect it has on the story and characters is incredible, and I cannot wait to see if Fujimoto can pull something to this magnitude later in Part 2. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more content on Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, and whatever else I'm interested in, you might want to consider subscribing. You should subscribe to get some justice for Beam.